Valorant's Wikipedia page says, not every aspect of gameplay is required to be justified and canonized into the lore, and that makes a lot of sense gameplay-wise. I've been playing Valorant since the beta, and the game was never made to give us the lore chronologically, but I wondered if the cinematics had to adhere to these rules too. If a cinematic is made to act as a cutscene for a player, can Valorant's YouTube cinematics put the story of Valorant and its characters together coherently? Now, you may be wondering, why does storytelling matter for YouTube cinematics under 10 minutes? It's not like it's a TV show, it's just some FPS game. And to that I say, this is Riot Games we're talking about. Riot Games has been known to have some of the best creatives in the video game industry to date. Not only have they made some of the best cinematics on the face of the earth with impressive narrative and music teams working together, but they've also got an Emmy award-winning animated show on Netflix highlighting their resume too. So many people loved Arcane because the series appealed both to casual viewers who have never played League of Legends and to longtime fans of the game. They've already set the bar high and we need to keep them in check. Now is the time to ask, how well does Valorant cinematics tell us the story of Radianite and our agents without needing to play the game itself or read the lore to know what's going on? Let's jump in. Duelist/Ignition is the first episode of Valorant. It came out in 2020 and is also the trailer for the entire game. We're told Phoenix's name off the jump, but you have to play the game to know the hostile's name is Jett. With just 2 minutes, we know Phoenix is trying to grab a package from Jett, and by the end, we find out that the package is some sort of bomb. The trailer shows us the abilities of the two characters. Phoenix has fire-based abilities while Jett has wind abilities, and whatever is going on, she's the bad guy that plants the bomb. The cinematic concludes with Phoenix failing to stop Jett, and the bomb destroys a city in Italy. Retake/Formation opts to introduce new characters and show us some more abilities. We have our recurring characters, Phoenix and Jett, still on opposing teams. We learn that Phoenix is the incompetent uncle of Valorant who lets his ego rush him into sticky situations. He seems a little new, and this time he has a teammate to help him out. This is Yoru's first appearance. Yoru seems laid back and confident, but confident because he actually has experience on the battlefield, while Phoenix is cocky with a significantly lower win rate. Despite Phoenix rushing in and throwing him off his rhythm, Yoru saves him by defusing a bomb and killing Jett. Twice. Phoenix and Yoru hold hands and skip into the sunset, and episode 2 ends there. This cinematic didn't answer any of my previous questions, but did give me a very succinct view of the new good guy and his personality traits. I'm really hoping that in the next episode we learn these people's names and figure out why Jett wants to plant the spike so badly. On to the next. Duality picks up where the first episode left off, with breaking news that a bomb had destroyed a city in Italy. Here we finally learn about Radianite, a mineral that causes explosions, gives people magical abilities sometimes, and is monopolized by Kingdom, a company that controls energy production. The crawler at the bottom of the news segment references an event called First Light, asking if warning signs of Radianite were ignored in the 10 years since. Images flash of Jett and Phoenix being caught on CCTV cameras, with a shot of Jett that the world's greatest cameraman could not have dreamt of capturing. Bro could have stopped the bomb and snapped a pic instead. Mance was in the room where it happened and left unscathed, but I'll get back to First Light in a second. 2 of the 3 characters we know are now terrorists. And now we're introduced to another character. Again, the cinematics don't give you any names. You would have had to guess, but don't worry, I'm here. Her name is Killjoy. A chopper arrives and her team walks out, and Viper and Phoenix? Okay. Phoenix is on the team he was just fighting against the last episode. Whatever. Once again, he is way too confident for taking nothing but L's up to this point. Killjoy runs some numbers on the bomb, and Viper reveals that
it's stealing Radianite from the environment.
I'm confused, you're confused, let's move on. Phoenix once again gets cocky and goes after a target while his teammate tells him not to. Then he finds out that the person Killjoy was running from earlier is him. Viper shoos his alternate away and they disarm the bomb. Phoenix asks Viper why their enemies look like them, to which she says she'll talk to a guy called Brimstone to fill him in. The first 3 episodes have left me with more questions than answers. The narrative seems a bit choppy, but I'll give Riot the benefit of the doubt. They have 5 more episodes and surely some things should start to make sense. Surely they'll answer questions instead of just showing us new characters hoping to distract us from the gaping plot holes. Warm-up/disruption. Why do they give the episodes 2 names, by the way? I'm confused. Wait, is Valorant a video game with a black protagonist? Does this count as woke media?
Congratulations! You are undefeated at target practice.
There's a ton of new nameless characters in this episode. A robot named KO, an engineer named Raze, the masked man from episode 2 named Cypher. Raze is wearing the craziest Crocs I've ever seen. I don't think those are her shoes in game. Jett somehow survived the gunshot from episode 2. She and Yoru are cool now, and she affectionately calls Phoenix pretty boy, so we're missing a couple of chapters here. Raze and Killjoy create a practice dummy that adapts to its users as a way to up the stakes of their practice sessions. It uses Jett's dash to win against Phoenix, throws KO's knife back at him, hacks Raze's and Killjoy's robots, forcing members to start teaming up to try to beat defeat it. They end up beating the bot with the power of friendship, but right before Sova lands the final shot, the bot starts to conjure some sort of black hole. The session is ended by Sage, the one giving Phoenix comms in episode 1, and the aforementioned Brimstone ushers the members to a different location. We're now halfway through all of the episodes, and the only names we've heard out loud are Brimstone and Phoenix. We'd introduced enemies, but now they're all on the same team. We've gotten a glimpse at Radianite, but still have no idea what it actually is or what it actually does. Riot Games might be banking too hard on the idea that everyone watching these cinematics also plays the game. But hey, we're only halfway through, surely we'll have some questions answered soon. Shattered Dimension is the name of the 5th episode. Killjoy leads her trio into a Kingdom Corporation's base, and Brimstone lays out the plan. Get in, get the Radianite, get out. The trio is intercepted by masked soldiers who refer to them as Alpha Agents, letting the viewers know that our trio has entered the mirror dimension. While Killjoy is hacking into the mainframe, she finds out that this Earth is using Radianite as a life support system, not as a weapon. Reyna and Neon, yes, those are their names, have to fight against this world's Viper. Reyna clearly has some personal beef with Viper, but gets pulled out by Neon before she can cause any real damage. Our trio make it to a back room and find comic books, cutouts, and large statues of the characters. On this Earth, they're heroes, or celebrities, or both. This episode has the most lore about both dimensions, so now's the time for a theory.
Hydroponics. Desalination.
Desalination is the process of removing salt from water to make it drinkable, and the final shot in this episode shows that the entire Kingdom Corporation base is underwater, which leads me to believe that this story is one about climate change. Our biggest threat with climate change is a rising sea level and catastrophic floods, so assuming they're on a planet that's meant to replicate Earth, and using the context clues scattered throughout the cinematic, this beta Earth has already gotten to the worst of it and steals Radianite from Alpha Earth to try and stabilize their planet. That is a really cool plotline. Although it doesn't spoon feed us the information, my theory answers my question about the point of Radianite and the mirrored worlds. After I finish up with the cinematics, I'll see if my theory was correct. Revelation is the 6th episode, and artistically this episode is the best one so far. It makes the viewer feel like they're moving with the characters to the music, and Visions is a great tone setter. The character design of all the new agents is incredible. I've never seen a character with Astra's haircut, and Fade is giving 2014 Tumblr realness. The character designers of Valorant were on their Zoom, but I wish we had known them from the jump. I mean, to be fair, we don't know anything about them, but we're building tension with characters we don't know, and it feels really lackluster. Like, this hits, but it doesn't hit as hard as it could. There are some really dynamic shots throughout the cinematic that line up the music's crescendos with the agent's actions. And this shot during Sage's practice that switches from an outsider's perspective to an FPS perspective. Also, Sage beheads a robot with a butterfly knife. The cinematic pulls from a ton of locations and introduces 4 new characters and 4 different locations, so it should feel like they're putting all the plot lines together, but by the end of it, we've learned little to nothing besides the fact that Lotus is a base hiding something that the corporation Astra and Harbor work for is really interested in. And knowing that makes you ask, what's in there? Why do they want it? Who do they work for? And who are the guys in suits? And great, now we have more questions that the next episode won't answer. I'll admit that the more characters they add, the cooler it looks, but I'm getting pissed off. Are they sneaking onto native land for a damn rock? Is this seriously all about Radianite? I mean, who starts a military invasion over mining some damn minerals? At the end of the day, we still don't know the most important question in storytelling. What is their goal? And maybe let's start with, like, who are these people? Unmade Evolution is the first episode that actually bothers to introduce a character to us, so that's nice. Only took us 7 episodes. Long story short, Deadlock's entire team gets eaten by a bear because they can't aim. This is way too big of a target to be missing with a machine gun, I'm sorry. But at least they tried. She has trust issues now, and PETA hates her. Her team was initially going into this facility to extract some data from a computer, but a bear mutated by Radianite had other plans. This episode is one that finally feels episodic, and it would be pretty intense if we had built up to this moment at all. Sure, Riot is feeding us the information slowly, but it's been 4 years. This is a little too slow. They've shown us how many different characters and we only know how many of their names? I don't really have anything else to say about this episode. Getting mauled by a bear is a bad way to go. Episode 8, Reckoning, starts with the same guy from episode 6 leading another sting operation, our first non-main cast recurring character, and another new character. I'm already angry. Not gonna lie, I went into this one a little biased.
What the hell do you want? Answers.
Don't piss me off, Riot! Omen and the boss know each other. Omen used to work for them, and their company's objective was to snuff out anyone who knew too much about Radianite. In an attempt to kill Viper, Omen was mutated beyond recognition by a Radianite acid attack. Sometime between his quote-unquote death and now, he ended up joining or was forced to join Valorant. Omen was like a spy for the spy working for the enemy or something. And with what we learned in Revelation, Astra and Harbor work for this guy too, since Fade got their location on Lotus from the same guy in a suit. Can anyone tell me anything? The cinematic ends with Omen vowing to talk to Viper one-on-one and Cypher's goofy ass jumping with joy. Positives! The VA casting for all the characters is great. If you focus on the creative directions of these cinematics, the Valorant cinematics look really impressive. Every other piece of creative direction in these cinematics is delicious. But then there's literally everything else. The reveal that Omen was after Viper felt like it was supposed to be a plot twist, but a plot twist to what? It gives us some backstory for Omen, but genuinely so little of it that we could have forfeited the entire backstory monologue and kept it for later. What we got from this episode is that Radianite is a powerful material, and there are some powerful people who want to keep it for themselves. Duh! They're giving us concepts of answers. So that does it for all 8 episodes of Valorant that are currently out. By now, you've gotten a chance to understand how I feel about these cinematics, but I'm not done here. I'll be reading the full lore page on the Valorant wiki to figure out just what the heck is going on here. Now my undiagnosed ass has to sit through several pages of fine literature. The Edo period of Japan. Radianite has existed since the 1600s. Holy shit. Radianite has existed since the 1600s, and the only Japanese character has samurai ancestors.
Right.
Kingdom Corporation rose in power as a corporation because they were harnessing Radianite better than anyone else and gained near universal influence. First Light happens. We still don't really know what First Light is, but Radianite became explosive and people started getting powers. Valorant Protocol, which I'll be calling the VP from now on, was created by Brimstone and Viper in response to some threats created by First Light, although now VP's goal is to fend off attacks from Omega Earth. The wiki itself states that the duties of Valorant previous to the attacks remains unclear. The Everett Lynn facility is a place that the Kingdom Corporations of both worlds cooperated and worked together on, and I quote, something very important. Kingdom Corporation was blamed for the rise of Venice but didn't face much repercussion. Duality is the first time that the VP sent agents out as a team, which sort of explains why Phoenix is so quick to act without considering his teammates. Yoru's backstory was teased through Instagram stories, which is definitely a choice. He's on like a super side quest about finding out about his samurai ancestor. He's playing a completely different game and we're just gonna let him do his thing. The chambers of both worlds managed to destroy the Everett Lynn facility for some unknown reason, causing the facility to explode and taking hundreds of lives. Killjoy is working on a portal to Omega Earth, but since the Everett Lynn disaster destroyed the blueprints, she's out of ideas. Chamber comes in like, oh, I have the blueprints. Killjoy is like, where did you get those? And Chamber's like, just trust me, bro, and hands Killjoy the blueprints, which she accepts with no questions asked. Hello? Fade doxes the VP and then apologizes because she had the wrong guys. She agrees to join the VP. Neon and Killjoy get the portal working. Astra and Harbor meet. Killjoy and Ray's kiss at a concert in Berlin. Astra and Harbor infiltrate Lotus. Harbor's water watch thing is an artifact left by Astral Guardians. 200 years into the future, KO fights in a war against Radiant and travels back in time to stop it from ever happening. And that brings us back to the present. So, you remember my theory about how the reason Alpha Earth is traveling to Omega Earth is to extract Radianite from their environment to undo the effects of flooding from climate change? Yeah, forget I said any of that. As I was reading the wiki, I felt like I was constantly missing something, and the cinematics seemed to be making fun of the fact that none of this makes any sense.
Answers.
And like, I'm glad that Riot Games can laugh at themselves, but bad writing isn't their thing. Don't laugh! Get in the writer's room! Riot Games is basically dangling keys in front of our faces and then showing us sparkly gun skins and calling it a day. I thought that maybe checking out the videos in between the episodes would give me something to work with, but I'll just show you what I saw. This isn't the type of music that I would listen to normally, so I'm a little biased there, but this has some really good visuals. This one is a great map trailer by telling us right off the bat that this map doesn't make any f***ing sense. The thing I hate the most about these extras is how inconsistent the quality of the animations are. Advertising for esports is in a weird, uncanny valley right now. GTA graphics. The animation is about a guy going to get his fortune told. The fortune teller is telling him he's gonna lose a big tournament. He gets a Madoka Magica Soul Gem. He wins the championship. Generic K-pop beat drop. They spend 2 minutes gassing him up and we see that his next target is Omen.
Boring, yawning, sloppy, lazy.
So this is the console trailer for Valorant, and it looks so cool. Like, this is such an awesome concept for a game, but then you dig into the lore that they're trying to sell in the cinematics, and it seems like they just never tied the knots. These feel like advertisements for the game instead of telling the actual story of the game, and like, I guess that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to sell the game and make people want the skins. That's how they make all their money. But I guess it's really disappointing to watch the cinematics for another lore drop and sitting down for an ad. The fun thing about the Overwatch cinematics and the League of Legends cinematics are that they're all little movies. While they're giving us standalone stories with every minute of their visual storytelling, Valorant cinematics are asking you to stay tuned. They're saying, come back in a few months and maybe we'll tell you more. Buy a skin while you're at it. Valorant cinematics don't tell a story. Any story. They're fight scenes without the lore. The first video game I ever played was League of Legends, and the only reason I kept on going back to it decades later was because their cinematic shorts reminded me that the game was fun and interesting even outside of the game. So when Riot announced that they were releasing a new game, I thought, thank God I don't have to play League anymore. I sat in Pokemon stream for 2 days for a link, and lo and behold, I got to play the beta version of the game in 2020. And Valorant would begin pumping out high adrenaline cinematics in June of that same year. So if you watch the cinematics as they came out like I did, you might not even notice how messy it is. The style, the music, and the character design may be hype enough to let you forget that they're not actually telling you anything about the world that they've built, but watching them back to back to make this video, I've gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. I want to like it. It's not bad. A lot of people get to see themselves in the characters in some way. If you like the Valorant cinematics, there's absolutely no problem with that. But to me, altogether, the Valorant cinematic universe is a messy alphabet soup with great ideas and poor execution. We could have had a cinematic about First Light, which is the key starting point to showing the viewer how we got to where we are. I don't think Riot actually cares about the lore for this game because it's enough that people are buying the skins they drop in game. So Riot Games is banking too hard on the idea that everyone watching these cinematics also plays the game, and it's alienating the most important part of the fandom, the people who give a rat's ass about the lore. The fandom and the players of Valorant are doing the heavy lifting of making Valorant look like anything more interesting than a first-person shooter game. With Valorant, I kept hoping that the next episode would answer my questions, but I kept getting nothing but animated advertisements for the game, which is what they're supposed to be, but not how Riot Games cinematics usually feel. So, to recap. Characters die and revive with no clear explanation. The good guys and the bad guys switch team with no explanation. Character backgrounds and lore are given in cryptic ways that give us nothing. New characters are brought in without explanation or purpose or names. The goal of Valorant is never given. Radianite and events like First Light are never truly explained. What the hell is an Astral Guardian? The lore has too much wasted potential. There, one for every episode. I can't say the cinematics have done their job. Yet. I'm an optimist at heart. So, in conclusion, does Valorant cinematics tell us the story of Radianite and our agents without needing to play the game itself or read the lore to know what's going on?